Have you ever wondered if the person you've become is really you, or just a domesticated version, molded to not bother anyone? What if I told you that the greatest obstacle between you and your true greatness is exactly this comfortable identity that you spend your entire life defending? There's a type of death that doesn't happen in the body, but in the soul. It's the silent death of those who chose security instead of truth. You wake up every day, repeat the same gestures, feed the same opinions, wear the same masks, and deep down, very deep down, there's a voice that whispers, "This isn't all I can be." But you silence that voice, because listening to it means destroying everything you've built until now. It means admitting that you've been living a comfortable lie. Nietzsche knew this. He understood that most people don't live, they just survive inside an acceptable shell. He called this the last man, the one who seeks only comfort, approval, and security, the man who says, "We have invented happiness," while blinking his eyes and settling into his mediocrity. For Nietzsche, this was the most terrible destiny a human being could have. Not pain, not suffering, but the complete absence of struggle, of overcoming, of the will to become something greater. And here's the brutal truth. You were trained to be this last man. Since childhood, they taught you not to cause problems, to fit in, to be reasonable. They told you that dreaming too high is dangerous, that questioning too much is arrogance, that changing your mind is weakness. And little by little, you shaped a version of yourself that fits perfectly into the standards. A version that doesn't scare anyone, that doesn't challenge anything, that doesn't demand transformation. A safe version, dead. The problem isn't that you did this. The problem is that you started to believe this version is you. You defend your limitations as if they were your identity. Your insecurities became your personality. Your fears transformed into principles. And now, whenever something inside you tries to emerge, something bigger, wilder, more true, you yourself crush that force because it threatens the peace of your little constructed world. But tell me something. Are you really at peace? Or are you just numb? Because true peace doesn't come from avoiding conflicts, but from having the courage to face them. And the greatest conflict of your life isn't out there with other people or circumstances. It's inside you. It's the war between who you are and who you're pretending to be. Nietzsche spoke about the camel spirit, the one that carries the weight of all expectations, of all the thou shalts imposed by society. The camel kneels and says, "Put more weight on my back, I can handle it." He takes pride in his ability to endure, to be responsible, to be reliable. But he never questions why he's carrying this weight. He never asks if these burdens are really his. This camel is you, and you've been carrying burdens you didn't even choose. The transformation begins when the camel transforms into a lion. The lion says no. He roars against imposed values, against truths that were never his, against the life that was planned by others. The lion destroys. He needs to destroy to create space. And what he destroys first is the illusion that you need everyone's approval to exist. He shatters the idea that you need to be understood to be valid. He annihilates the self that was made for the comfort of others. But here's what nobody tells you. This destruction hurts. It hurts because you're going to lose people. It hurts because you're going to disappoint expectations. It hurts because you're going to look in the mirror and no longer recognize that familiar and predictable person. And most people give up right here. They feel the pain of transformation and run back to the comfortable cage. They prefer the known prison to the unknown freedom. But you can't do that. Not anymore. Not after knowing what you know now. The truth is that you're afraid to become who you really are because it means losing control. It means not knowing exactly where you're going to end up. It means walking in unknown territory without maps, without guarantees, without anyone's approval. And this uncertainty terrifies you because you were taught that success is having everything planned, everything under control, everything predictable. But Nietzsche would tell you, where there's control, there's no life. Where there's predictability, there's no creation. where there's absolute security. There's no you, just a poorly made copy of what they expect from you. If you've made it this far, and something inside you is trembling, is uncomfortable, is wanting to scream or cry, then this message is for you. And if you want to continue this journey of awakening, of creative destruction, of rebirth, subscribe to this channel. Because what comes next will challenge even more deeply everything you believe about yourself. So let's go deeper. Why is it so hard to abandon this comfortable self? Because it protects you. It gives you predictability. When you always act the same way, when you have the same reactions, the same opinions, the same routines, you create a sense of stability. You know who you are, and the people around you know too. They know what to expect from you. And this creates stable relationships, stable jobs, a stable life. The problem is that stable is just another word for stagnant. Think about how many times you've wanted to do something completely different, but didn't because that's not like me. Think about how many opportunities you've let pass because they didn't fit the image you built of yourself. Think about how many conversations you avoided, how many risks you didn't take, how many experiences you refused, all because you were afraid of breaking character. You imprisoned yourself in your own narrative. And here's the cruel irony. By trying to protect yourself from changes and uncertainties, you became the greatest threat to yourself. You became the guardian of your own prison. You are the jailer and the prisoner. And the bars of this prison are made of your own limiting beliefs, your fears disguised as prudence, your excuses masked as realism. Nietzsche understood that most people live in bad faith. They know deep down that they're betraying themselves. They know they're wasting their existence on trivialities and distractions, but it's easier to pretend they don't know. It's easier to stay busy, stay distracted, stay numb. Because truly waking up, truly confronting, truly changing requires something few have, brutal courage. But there's an even deeper secret that few know. True transformation doesn't happen when you add new things to your life. It happens when you remove, when you take off the masks, when you abandon the stories you tell about yourself, when you give up defending your image, when you stop justifying your limitations, when you let die everything that isn't essential. Only then, in the void that's created, can something new emerge, something that was always there, but was suffocated by layers and layers of conditioning. Nietzsche spoke about the eternal return, the idea that you should live each moment, as if you had to relive it infinitely. And he asked, would you choose to live this life exactly as it is, repeatedly, forever? If the answer is no, then you have a responsibility. You need to change. You need to destroy what's worthless and create something worth living eternally. But how to do this practically? First, you need to stop looking for formulas. Stop waiting for someone to give you a step-by-step. Stop seeking external security. Transformation begins with a simple and terrifying decision. You decide to stop lying to yourself. You look at your life with brutal honesty and ask, where am I living on autopilot? Where am I just playing a role? Where am I betraying who I could be? And then you act. Not when you're ready, not when you're certain, not when everyone agrees. You act while you're afraid. You act while you doubt. You act knowing you might fail. Because action is what kills the comfortable, but action is what creates the new. Every time you do something the old self that would never do, you weaken it. Every time you choose truth instead of convenience, you dissolve it. Every time you embrace discomfort instead of running from it, you become more free. And here's the part that will shock you. In the end, you'll discover there was never a fixed self to destroy. This was always an illusion. You are a process, not a product. You are a verb, not a noun. You are an eternal becoming, not a static being. And every time you try to fix yourself, define yourself, limit yourself to a rigid identity, you were just creating suffering for yourself. The true awakening is realizing that you don't need to become someone. You need to stop pretending you already are someone. You need to abandon all your conclusions about yourself. You need to embrace the radical uncertainty of not knowing who you are. And in this space of not knowing, of total vulnerability, of complete openness, you finally find freedom. Nietzsche said, "You must be ready to burn in your own flame." How could you renew yourself without first becoming ashes? This is the message. You need to let burn everything that is false, everything that is borrowed, everything that is comfortable but dead. And yes, it will hurt. Yes, you'll feel lost. Yes, there will be nights when you'll question everything. But on the other side of this destruction, there's something no comfort can give you. There's you, the real you, not the edited version, not the approved version, but the raw, wild, alive version. So I ask you now, are you ready to destroy the self that was made for comfort? Are you ready to betray the expectations placed upon you? Are you ready to disappoint the people who love your domesticated version? Are you ready to lose everything that isn't true to finally find what is? If the answer is yes, then start today, not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, today. Do one thing the old self would never do. Say a truth you've always avoided. Break a pattern you've repeated for years. And watch what happens. Watch how the universe conspires in favor of those who have courage. And if this message touched you, if it stirred something dormant inside you, then like this video, comment what you're ready to destroy in your life, and subscribe to this channel, because this is only the first layer. And if you made it this far, you deserve to go deeper. Share this video with someone who's living on autopilot, someone who needs to hear that it's possible to be reborn, because the greatest revolution doesn't happen in the streets, it happens inside you, and it begins now.